I never thought a stupid little piece of paper stuck to my front door could spark one of the most satisfying moments of payback in my life. Seriously. Imagine stumbling outside, coffee still steaming, only to spot a fancy wedding invitation, with thick cream cardstock and golden letters, listing your own backyard as the venue for some stranger's big day. Not my name on it, mind you. I blinked, half expecting some prank, but that invitation was just too upscale for high school antics or nosy neighbors pulling a fast one. Rebecca and James Thornton meant absolutely nothing to me, but their party was supposed to happen on my land in exactly 3 weeks. My first reaction was confusion, then disbelief, then if I'm being honest, a hot, righteous anger that just burned straight through me. Michael Foster, 38, just moved back to Willowbrook after my grandmother passed, and I'd been working my tail off to bring her old Victorian farmhouse back to life. 5 acres, gorgeous old gardens. This place used to get its picture in Home and Garden magazines back in the day, all thanks to Gran Eleanor Foster, who could turn any patch of dirt into a miracle. Inherited the place, took a break from my job in Chicago, and started fixing everything up: the leaky roof, the cranky pipes, the overgrown rose beds Gran once loved so much. But even in that wild state, the house was a gem. That morning, I took the wedding invite inside and called the number at the bottom, trying to keep my cool. Thornton Caldwell Wedding, Rebecca speaking, came the syrupy voice on the line. I explained as politely as I could that there must be some mistake about the venue. She just giggled. "Oh, you must mean the parking. Don't worry, we've told guests to use Maple Lane. Your driveway's safe." I almost laughed at the gall, but I set her straight. "No, Miss Thornton. I own this place, and I never gave anyone permission for a wedding." Dead silence. Then she snapped right out of the sweet act and got sharp with me. "This is ridiculous. I already paid the Willowbrook Heritage Association. Your house is listed as a historic wedding venue. It's all arranged. Take it up with Cynthia Morgan at the HOA. We have a contract. I have 200 guests flying in. The venue will be ready." And just like that, she hung up on me. I wasn't even part of the HOA. Me grandma bought this land specifically because it was outside those boundaries. So I did what anyone would do. Went online, found this slick website showing off local historic venues for weddings, and there was my house, Foster Gardens, featured in glossy photos. Me photos, my property, shot without my consent. Cynthia Morgan, HOA president, listed as booking contact, with rates starting at $4,000. I remembered Cynthia. She'd shown up my first week here with a bunch of HOA paperwork, acting like she owned the block. I told her politely to buzz off. Now, she was selling my house out from under me. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to the HOA office, stormed up to the front desk, and demanded to see Cynthia Morgan. No smile, no small talk. 10 minutes later, they shuffled me into a conference room, Cynthia at the head of the table, dressed like a politician with her pearls and that frozen, pleasant grin. "Mr. Foster, what's the problem?" I laid it out. "You're advertising my house as a wedding venue, taking money, letting strangers throw parties here. Cut it out. Now." She stayed smooth as silk claim my grandma had signed up last year. Someone slid a document across the table. It was supposed to be Gran's signature, but I recognized a fake when I saw one. 3 months before she died? She was in hospice, then could barely hold a pen. "This is forged," I said. Cynthia just smiled tighter. "It's legally binding, witnessed by 2 board members. Your grandmother understood the need for community support. Sharon Peterson, owner of the boutique in town, jumped in about how 60% of the booking fees were supposed to go to property upkeep, like that made it okay. I'd never seen a dime. I asked where the money was going. Lots of uncomfortable glances, lots of shuffling papers. "There's a reserve fund," Cynthia insisted. "We were going to approach you about improvements." I asked how many bookings there'd been. 3. They admitted this wedding, 2 more in summer. I laughed. No humor in it. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer. Start calling those brides and refunding their money, unless you want to be sued for fraud." Cynthia tried to threaten me. "Willowbrook Estates represents 300 homeowners, brings in tourism. It's in your best interest to cooperate." She smiled like she wasn't threatening me. I shot back, "Is that supposed to scare me?" But honestly, I knew what I was up against. She had family on the city council. Her brother-in-law was a judge, and her fingers were deep in every local business. I took it to James Harrington, Grand's old attorney. He agreed his signature was a joke. Grand would never have agreed. And this was about more than cash. The property was the last big chunk not under HOA control, and Cynthia wanted it bad. James handed me a folder Grand had left land surveys, deeds, letters from the city, all showing she'd refused every offer to join the HOA or sell. She knew they'd come for it one day. But paperwork wasn't going to solve a wedding 3 weeks away, and Cynthia was never going to back down. That night, as I sat on the porch, Walter Jenkins, the old groundskeeper, pulled up in his dusty pickup, heard about my trouble, and just shook his head. "Your grandma would have told Cynthia to pound sand," he said, which made me laugh for the first time all day. Walter explained Cynthia's playbook: start small, then escalate. Most folks were scared to fight her, but bullies only win if you let them. You could go along with it, fight in court, or get creative, he said with a twinkle. Sometimes the only way to beat unreasonable folks is to be spectacularly unreasonable yourself. 3 days later, the cease and desist letter went out. The HOA lawyer threatened to sue for breach of contract. Fine, I thought, let's see how you like a little public humiliation. I dug into Rebecca and James' backgrounds. Turns out she was a realtor. He was a developer, both deep in Cynthia's social web. This wasn't just a wedding, it was a business alliance. I called around to local companies not tied to the HOA, explained the scam. The resentment against Cynthia was bigger than I thought. People were happy to help me out. The Saturday before the wedding, I staged my counterattack. 3 big trucks rolled up at 7:30 a.m., just legal. One was a portable toilet company. They lined up 20 bright blue porta potties across my front lawn. The next was pest control, big yellow warning signs everywhere. The last? A demolition company, unloading a bulldozer for landscape improvements. My actual neighbors, once I told them the story, were in my corner. Within an hour, a crowd gathered, snapping photos, whispering. Then Cynthia screeched up in her Mercedes, livid. "What are you doing?" she shrieked. I played dumb, clipboard in hand. "Major renovations, new koi pond, replanting, starting Monday." Her face turned every color in the Crayola box. "The wedding's next Saturday." I shrugged. "Oh, that's too bad. Since I never agreed to host, and this is my property, I'm making improvements. Porta potties are for the crew. They'll be here for weeks." Rebecca arrived, seeing her dream wedding site turned into a construction zone, and freaked out. Cynthia tried to calm her, but Rebecca was having none of it. Her tears quickly turned into fury, and she started yelling at Cynthia for lying about the venue. The crowd loved it. More folks gathered, phones out, rumors flying. Cynthia tried to claim it was a technicality. I cut her off, showing Rebecca the fake Contract Me grandma's forged signature. "Sorry, Miss Thornton, you paid under false pretenses. I never got a penny." Rebecca lost it. Where am I supposed to go? My family's flying in. Her anger at Cynthia was on full display. I felt bad for her, honestly, so I pulled her fiancé aside and told him about another venue I'd lined up just in case. Willow Creek Lodge, open thanks to a cancellation, with a discount for the trouble. He thanked me, almost stunned. "Not everyone here is like Cynthia," I told him. By then, the spectacle was out of Cynthia's control. The wedding guests, the planner, even Rebecca's mom showed up, all demanding answers, refunds, yelling at Cynthia as the neighbors watched. Social media caught fire, photos everywhere. The story spreading about the HOA president forging signatures, stealing fees, and ruining a wedding. Cynthia's authority evaporated right in front of everyone. Within a day, the HOA board suspended her. The city council confirmed my property was outside their control. Refunds were issued, and Cynthia's husband started distancing himself fast. The wedding went ahead at Willow Creek Lodge. The couple sent me a thank you note and a bottle of champagne. Cynthia? Facing fraud charges, her real estate license under review, her reputation in tatters. She sold her house, left town for Florida, and the HOA was gutted. New leadership, new rules, full transparency. By summer, my grandmother's gardens were coming back. Walter helping me replant her beloved roses. Neighbors now dropping by not to complain, but to compliment. Even Sharon Peterson came to apologize, had no idea what Cynthia was doing, and most of the board quit in protest, calling for reforms. The town finally realized how badly they'd been manipulated. That first night the gardens were in bloom again. I threw a party for everyone, old neighbors, even folks from the HOA, under twinkling lights, live music, laughter, and the scent of roses filling the air. Walter raised a glass. Your grandmother would be proud. Not just for the flowers, but for how you stood your ground. I toasted Gran, feeling her presence in every breeze, every blossom. Looking back, that wedding that never was became something way bigger than a party. It pulled a whole community together, forced out the rot, and let something honest grow in its place. I learned that sometimes the only way to deal with bullies is to stand in the light, let everyone see what's happening, and never let fear win. And if the next bride comes knocking, I'll decide on my terms: no porta potties, no bulldozers, just respect, and maybe a bottle of champagne to toast the new beginning. So what do you think? Was I right to take it this far? Or should I have tried to compromise for the sake of peace? Let me know your take. Where's the real line between justice and revenge? And what would you have done if your home became ground zero for someone else's plans?